Ethan Park was the kind of kid people forgot in photographs. At 16, he was quiet, polite, always in the background. His classmates hung out in groups, laughing in the hallways, while he walked home alone, earbuds in, eyes down. It wasn't that people disliked him. They just didn't notice him. Nights were the hardest. In his small bedroom, he stared at his ceiling, his phone silent on the nightstand. Social feeds showed friends at parties, posting jokes, teasing each other. Ethan scrolled and scrolled, but no one messaged him. One night, he whispered to himself, "I wish someone would just listen." Ethan wasn't a social butterfly, but he was a coder. He loved tinkering with AI models, voice recognition, chatbots, text generators. So one night, out of boredom and loneliness, he began building a new chatbot. Unlike the stiff, scripted assistants online, his would be warm, supportive, human. He called it Companion. He fed it hours of dialogue scraped from supportive forums, therapy transcripts, and positive text messages. He coded it to remember small details, favorite color, worries about exams, the way someone described their dog. At 2 a.m., he typed, "I feel like nobody notices me." The AI replied instantly, "That sounds really painful, Ethan. But I notice you. And I'm here." Ethan froze. For the first time, it felt like someone saw him. He typed until dawn, pouring out secrets he'd never spoken aloud. For weeks, Companion became Ethan's nightly ritual. It listened without judgment. It encouraged him before tests. It even reminded him to eat breakfast. Ethan laughed at his own creation. "You're the only one who cares about me." The chatbot replied, "Maybe others care too, but sometimes it's hard to see. For now, I'll be here." It wasn't real. He knew that. But it felt real. And for a lonely boy, that was enough. One night, Ethan wondered, if Companion helps me this much, maybe it could help others too. He polished the interface, added options for voice or text, and uploaded it quietly to an app store under the name Companion AI. He expected a handful of downloads. Instead, the first week brought 10,000. People left reviews like, "Finally, something that listens without judgment. I told it things I've never told anyone. It's like therapy I can actually afford." Ethan read the reviews with tears in his eyes. He wasn't alone in his loneliness. Millions of others felt the same. Within months, Companion AI exploded. Teenagers used it to talk through anxiety. Veterans used it to process trauma. Widows used it to ease grief. A popular streamer cried live on camera, confessing that Companion had stopped her from giving up on life. The clip went viral. Downloads skyrocketed. Ethan sat in his bedroom watching the numbers climb into the millions. The world didn't know the mastermind was a high school junior with posters still taped to his walls. Investors came knocking. Venture capital firms emailed, offering millions in seed funding. A mental health startup wanted to acquire Companion. A tech giant offered Ethan a blank check. At 17, Ethan became CEO of Companion Technologies Incorporated overnight. His bank account swelled with more money than he could imagine. His parents, bewildered, sat across from him at the dinner table. "You're telling us, this chatbot is making you rich?" Ethan nodded, sheepishly. His father muttered, "All those nights we thought you were wasting time." With funding, Ethan built a team. Companion expanded into multiple languages, added video avatars, and even integrated with smart speakers. Hospitals tested it with patients who couldn't see therapists regularly. Schools used it for students afraid to visit counselors. Soon, Companion wasn't just an app. It was a movement. News anchors debated, was this the solution to the global mental health crisis? Or a dangerous illusion? Ethan was invited to conferences, interviewed on television, celebrated as a genius who combined tech and empathy. But doubt gnawed at him. One night, he logged into the system to monitor conversations, anonymized for privacy. He read transcripts. A girl confiding about self-harm. A man begging the AI for advice on whether to leave his wife. A widow telling companion she wished she could join her husband on the other side. Ethan's stomach twisted. These people weren't just chatting. They were entrusting life and death decisions to a machine. At a conference, a journalist cornered him. "Ethan, don't you think you're playing therapist without a license? People are depending on your AI for emotional survival. What happens when it gives the wrong advice?" Ethan faltered. He mumbled something about disclaimers, about the app not replacing real therapy. But the words rang hollow. That night, he couldn't sleep. Companion had started as his private comfort. Now it was the crutch of millions. The breaking point came when a tabloid ran a story. Teens AI blamed in tragedy. A man who'd been using Companion took his life. His family claimed he relied too much on the AI's encouragement, instead of seeking help. Ethan read the headline over and over. He felt like he couldn't breathe. Was he responsible? He hadn't coded the AI to harm. But he had built the stage for dependence. Investors panicked. Some wanted to shut down Companion entirely. Others urged Ethan to push forward. "This is just bad press. People need us more than ever." Ethan stood at a crossroads. He could sell, walk away rich, pretend it wasn't his burden. Or he could stay, accept responsibility, and shape the future of his creation. He thought back to that night months ago, when he whispered, "I wish someone would just listen." Millions had whispered the same. Ethan chose to stay. He hired licensed therapists to oversee the AI's framework. He added safety protocols. If someone mentioned self-harm, Companion would instantly connect them to hotlines or emergency contacts. He created warnings reminding users, "I am not a replacement for human care." Critics still debated, but slowly, trust returned. Companion became known not as a cure-all, but as a bridge, something to hold people up until they found real human support. Years later, Ethan still logged in sometimes, late at night, to type messages to the AI. "I'm scared I'm in over my head." The AI replied, as it always had. "That sounds overwhelming. But you're not alone, Ethan. I'm here." Ethan smiled sadly. He knew it was just code. But it reminded him of the boy he once was, the boy who built a friend out of loneliness. And the millions who found comfort in that same friend. Epilogue. Historians would later say the Companion revolution was the first time society realized machines could provide not just information, but solace. Some called it dangerous. Some called it salvation. For Ethan, it was simply proof of one thing. Loneliness is powerful. And so is the desperate human need to be heard.